Alright, this one we're looking at 5-minute code lab 4E utilizing if statements. So we got a couple problems for you guys to work on. So first problem is this. You're going to copy and paste the code from problem 3 in the 5-minute code from the previous lab. And we're going to include an else statement that is then going to display that the user input languages is good, but I think Python is better. So again, as we're getting into these programs where decisions and logic are getting involved, it makes sense to draw out a flowchart. Otherwise, you'll be spending hours trying to figure out how to write the code correctly. So I kind of give you a couple pointers here. So you notice that there is a new symbol over here. It's on a slant. So anytime when there's a slant, we're basically trying to prompt a user for some input. So when you have a parallelogram like this, it's requesting input. So here we have if programming language is going to be Python. Well, if that was spelled correctly, well, it makes sense. Then we would basically print that you like Python, etc. Otherwise, if not, then you print out some statements accordingly. So let's take a look at the code and see what we need to do. So I already copied and pasted from the previous program, and here we're going to insert a else statement. So you got to make sure that it is all aligned over here with the if here, and then we're going to basically write this particular code, and we'll write it here, and it's going to be our else statement. So you notice what I'm doing here when I write the statement. So print else, whatever they're inputting as their programming language, I'm basically outputting it back out and saying that it's good. I think Python is better. And let me get rid of this one space here. And then thank you for your input of programming whatever language they have, and have a great day. And let's go ahead and take a look at the program here. Let's run the code. Bring this over here. So what's your favorite programming language? Let's do Java. And Java is good, but I think Python is better. Thank you for your input of Java. Have a great day. Pretty cool. So that worked as it needed for that particular problem. So now let's take a look at problem number 2. And what we're doing here is we're going to create code to prompt a user for their age. Determine if the age is 18 or greater. If it is, then we're going to prompt that they are eligible to vote, or basically print, and we're not prompting print. And if the age is less than 18, determine how many years before they can actually vote. So the flow chart would look something like this. Again, we're prompting the user for input. If age is greater than 18, then we're going to identify that they're able to vote. And then at the outside here, we're just given a separate statement here that you need to register to vote. Otherwise, we're going to do a little math calculation over here to spit out how many more years before they're able to vote. So let's take a look at the code here. So for problem number 2, this is what we'll write the code, and the code will look something like this. So we're going to capture the user's input, their age. And you notice that I'm basically utilizing the integer value to capture the age. And then if the age is 18, greater or equal to 18, they're eligible to vote. Otherwise, there won't be. And let me fix this real quick. So it's outside the loop, and same thing with this. This is, oh, I got messed up a little bit here. Okay, so got to make sure that we have that single indentation here, because again, we're in a function. If age is this, we're going to print you're eligible to vote. Else, sorry, you're too young to vote. You have, so here we're doing a calculation of 18 minus age. And over here, this is important because I'm capturing the integer value of this, because by default, when we do a input, remember this input, whatever the user enters, that's going to be saved as a string by default. So we're converting it right away to int. So age is always going to be then a integer. So that's why we're able to do this without prompting or changing anything, because the age is already integer and we're identifying 18. And then coming over here, we're going to be subtracting of how many years they have before they're eligible to vote. So let's go ahead and run the code and take a look to see how that looks. Actually, let me clear the screen and start over here. So let's do Java. Okay. Enter your age, 12. Sorry, you're too young to vote. You have 6 years to go. Register to vote. So again, looking at the syntax here. So when the user entered their age, we're prompting them right there. It's doing a calculation. So now, since it's less than 18, it's doing this particular segment there. And then register to vote is outside of everything. It's no longer indented here, so this gets printed irregardless. Alrighty, let's take a look then at our last problem, problem number 3. This is a cool one. So odd or even, create code to prompt the user to enter a whole number, determine if the number is going to be odd or even, and then we'll create the appropriate print statements, and then include a print statement, thank you for playing, there afterwards. So here is the flow chart. So we're going to prompt the user for input. So if we look at this if statement, so this is kind of unique. So we're taking a number and we're not utilizing a division, we're using the percent. So go back and take a look at the math calculations for looking at the remainder. So this is going to be a remainder. So if there is a remainder, that means that it's odd. If there is no remainder, that means that the value is 0. So if it's 0, then that means that this is going to be an even number. If it's not 0, anything else is going to be an odd number. And then at the end here, we're going to say thanks for playing. So let's take a look to see how this particular code works. So over here, this is where we'll start our code. And we'll start typing in here. So we have a print statement of what the system is going to do. Enter a number, and I'll determine if it's odd or even. Again, we're going to have an input. This time I'm utilizing a num1 for my variable, and I'm converting that to an integer. And then down the line here, we're looking to see if there is a remainder, and if that remainder is 0. If it is, then print the number is even. Else, and this is in the wrong place there, put it over there, put that there, and that there. Else, we know that basically the number is going to be an odd number. And then thanks for playing. So let's go ahead and go back to our code here. Let me clear the screen and run it. So we have Java, enter your age 21. Great, you're eligible to vote. Register to vote. Enter a number, and I'll determine if it's odd or even. So we're going to enter a number. Let's say it is 200. So that number is even. Thanks for playing. Now, obviously, if we did an odd number, the correct output will come out from there. So that's what you need to do to complete the lab exercises for these 5-minute codes.